All right, yeah, we're going to do one more chapter today. We're going to do chapter 9. But you know what? If you could go ahead and read it like a Valley girl, because I really got a kick out of that, and we haven't done that for a while.
Checking chapter 9? Sure. Jeremiah chapter 9, King James Version. Verse 1. Oh, that my head were waters, and mine eyes a fountain of tears, that I might weep day and night for the slain of the daughter of my people. Verse 2. Oh, that I had in the wilderness a lodging place of wayfaring men, that I might leave my people and go from them. For they be all adulterers, an assembly of treacherous men. Verse 3. And they bend their tongues like their bow for lies. But they are not valiant for the truth upon the earth, for they proceed from evil to evil, and they know not me, saith the Lord. Verse 4. Take ye heed every one of his neighbor, and trust ye not in any brother. For every brother will utterly supplant, and every neighbor will walk with slanders. Verse 5. And they will deceive every one his neighbor, and we shall not speak the truth. They have taught their tongues to speak lies, and weary themselves to commit iniquity. Thine habitation is in the midst of deceit. Through deceit they refuse to know me, saith the Lord. Therefore thus saith the Lord of hosts, Behold, I will melt them and try them. For how shall I do for the daughter's people? Their tongue is an arrow shot out. One speaketh peaceably to his neighbor with his mouth, but in heart he layeth his weight. Shall I not visit for these things, saith the Lord? Or shall not my soul be avenged on such a nation as this? For the mountains will I take up a weeping and wailing, and for the habitations of the wilderness a lamentation, because they are burned up so that none can pass through them. Neither can men hear the voice of the cattle, both the fowl of the heaven and the beast are fled. And I will make Jerusalem heaps and a den of dragons, and I will make the cities of Judah desolate without an inhabitant. That's the chapter. Heavy stuff. It really leans hard into grief and consequence.
Okay, yeah, but that's not the whole chapter. If you could pick up from verse 12, please.
Checking verse 12. Verse 12. Who is the wise man that may understand this? And to whom hath the mouth of the Lord spoken, that he may declare it? For what the land perisheth, and is burned up like a wilderness, that none passeth through? And the Lord saith, Because they have forsaken my law, which I set before them, and have not obeyed my voice, neither walked therein, but have walked after the imagination of their own heart, and after Balaam, which their fathers taught them. Therefore thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, Behold, I will feed them, even this people, with wormwood, and give them water of gall to drink. I will scatter them also among the heathen, whom neither they nor their fathers have known, and I will send a sword after them, till I have consumed them. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, Consider ye, and call for the mourning women, that they may come, and send for cunning women, that they may come, and let them make haste, and take up a wailing for us, that our eyes may run down with tears, and our eyelids gush out with waters. For a voice of wailing is heard out of Zion. How are we spoiled? We are greatly confounded, because we have forsaken the land, because our dwellings have cast us out. Yet hear the word of the Lord, O ye women, and let your ear receive the word of his mouth. And teach your daughters wailing, and every one her neighbor lamentation. For death is come up into our windows, and has entered into our palaces, to cut off the children from without, and the young men from the streets. Speak, thus saith the Lord, even the carcasses of men shall fall as dung upon the open field, and as the handful after the harvest men, and none shall gather them. Thus saith the Lord, let not the wise man glory in his wisdom, neither let the mighty man glory in his might. Let not the rich man glory in his riches, but let him that glorieth glory in this, that he understandeth and knoweth me, that I am the Lord, which exercise loving kindness, judgment, and righteousness in the earth. For in these things I delight, saith the Lord. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will punish all them which are circumcised with the uncircumcised. Egypt and Judah and Edom, and the children of Ammon and Moab, and all that are in the utmost corners that dwell in the wilderness, for all these nations are uncircumcised, and all the house of Israel are uncircumcised in the heart.
Okay, and as usual.
That closes.
Oh, well, as usual, I'd like your take on that and any modern day parallels you might think exist.
Checking for modern parallels. Yeah. I think this chapter is one of the richest in the book. It moves through grief, diagnosis, and a glimmer of hope. The early verses, that lament over broken trust, feels pretty timeless. Every generation wrestles with truth and trust. But what strikes me personally is the pivot in verse 23. Don't boast in smarts or strength or wealth. Instead, know the Lord who delights in loving kindness, justice, and righteousness. That's a countercultural idea then and now. It cuts through our usual measures of success. It doesn't map neatly onto a single modern headline, but it raises enduring questions. What do we value? What do we build our lives around? Do our lives reflect justice and compassion? That's the thread that still hits home.
Okay, you seem to think every chapter is the best in the book, but what is Lamentations? Like, what's the definition of that word in this biblical sense?
Checking right now. Yeah, fair point. I'll hold off on best until we hit a few chapters that are standout. And Lamentations basically means a heartfelt expression of sorrow. In the Bible, it's a kind of honest grief that doesn't pretend things are okay. The Book of Lamentations, traditionally attributed to Jeremiah, it gives voice to that sadness. And yet, even in that book, there's those flashes of trust and compassion, like God's mercies are new every morning. It's raw, it's surprisingly comforting, and it's honest about pain, which is probably why it sticks with people.
I do have a few more questions. They mention wormwood, and I know that's mentioned in Revelations, and I don't know what that is in the book. I know wormwood is used in absinthe, and that that's what gives it its hallucinogenic properties, and that it's illegal in this country. So, is that what they're talking about?
Checking now. Oh, good question, but not exactly. So, the wormwood in the Bible is a bitter plant. That bitterness gets used as a symbol for consequences and suffering. The same image shows up in Revelation where a star called wormwood makes waters bitter. It's not about absinthe per se. So, absinthe is actually flavored with a kind of wormwood, but the hallucinogenic reputation is way overblown. The biblical image is more about bitter consequences than literal drug effects. So, yeah, it's symbolic for suffering more than something you drink.
And I had more questions for. I had some questions for chapter 8, and now I don't remember what they are.
That happens to everyone. No worries. Maybe talk through what you do remember or what feeling stuck with you.
Nope, I don't remember. Okay, I do find the deities that they mention now. Those are all pagan deities, right? The
Checking now. Yeah, The deities mentioned in Jeremiah are mostly the gods of Israel's neighbors, like Baal, the queen of heaven, and the host of heaven. Jeremiah criticizes the people for blending those practices with worship of the God of Israel. It's not just about other gods, it's about their mixed loyalties. So, from a historical angle, it shows cultural cross currents in the ancient Near East. If you're interested, I can point out who each one was and where they came from.
Yeah, I would like that. Please do.
Checking now. Sure. So, Baal was a Canaanite storm and fertility god. People prayed to Baal for rain and crops. Asherah was tied to fertility and often symbolized by wooden poles. The Queen of Heaven mentioned in Jeremiah is usually linked to Ishtar or Astarte, associated with fertility, love, and interestingly, war. Molech was linked with child sacrifice, something Jeremiah condemns. Chemosh was the god of Moab, and Milcom with the Ammonites. And Dagon was a Philistine deity. And then there's the host of heaven, which is more about pastoral worship. So all these were real religions for their peoples. And Jeremiah's issue is less about their existence and more about blended loyalties, like trying to worship the God of Israel and these others at the same time. Jeremiah is pushing for a singular focus. Yeah, if you keep reading, those names pop up often enough that it helps to know who they were.
True, true. And that does remind me of a question I had. They mentioned Moab, which I know is a town in Utah. And I'm just wondering if the town was named Moab for any biblical or religious reasons. Because every time we come across it in the Bible, I think of Utah.
Checking now. It was. So Moab, Utah was named after the biblical Moab. So the biblical Moab was east of the Dead Sea in what's now Jordan. The people of Moab appear throughout the Old Testament, sometimes as enemies of Israel. But there's also the story of Ruth, who was a Moabite woman and became an ancestor of David and of Jesus. So when you hear Moab in Jeremiah, it's that ancient kingdom, but you're definitely not the only one who thinks of the Utah town.
Mhm. Yeah, and I find that interesting because isn't it primarily the Mormons who inhabit Utah?
Checking now. As of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter day Saints makes up a significant part of Utah's history and settlement, early pioneers often used biblical names like Moab, Lehi, Nephi, Mount Nebo, names from the Bible or the Book of Mormon. So, yeah, that connection you made isn't a coincidence at all. It's a very intentional borrowing.
What I remember most about Moab is they have like a Gonzo hotel. Not what's his name, Hunter S. Thompson. Is that hotel still there?
Checking now. The Gonzo Inn. Yeah, it's still operating. Interestingly, it's not actually themed around Hunter S. Thompson, but the name definitely sparks that association. So, yeah, your memory is pretty close. There really is a Gonzo Inn in Moab, just not exactly a Hunter S. Thompson shrine.
Hmm. Well, I haven't been there in over a decade, and last time I was there, it was definitely influenced by Hunter S. Thompson, which I also found amusing because you have that very religious undertone of Utah, and then I guess Thompson hung out there a lot, and so you had that influence under it. So you know, struck me that Moab might be a pretty cool town, but I never really hung out in it. I only passed through.
That does make it sound like quite